watching the 50th episode of Tornado Facts with Beanrock124. My name is Nathan, and I obviously love talking about tornadoes. I've loved talking about tornadoes for about 10 years now. In fact, it's just about the 10-year anniversary since I started liking tornadoes, because May 20th is coming up. But I can't believe I've done 50 episodes of this already. How has it already been 45 weeks? Or 47-ish weeks since I recorded the third episode of Tornado Facts with Beanrock124. I can't believe it. Who knew that I would continue this series forever, but I guess we're going to keep going with it because I love this series. So, today, I don't know why I'm scrolled down. Today, we are talking about the tornado outbreak sequence of May 2004. It was a series of tornado outbreaks that affected much of the southern Ontario, central U.S., and east of the Rockies, well, that area. The United States, from east of the Rockies to the mid-Atlantic states, from May 21 through May 31 of 2004. Particularly hard-hit areas were the Central Plains from Missouri to Iowa and the Ohio Valley. The Central Plains were hit by two significant tornadoes on May 20. It's two significant tornado outbreaks on May 22nd and May 24th. The first outbreak of which produced a very large and violent tornado near Hallam, Nebraska. We all know what tornado that was. It was the widest tornado ever before El Reno. The Ohio River Valley was affected by one of the largest tornado outbreaks ever during the Memorial Day weekend on May 29th through the 30th. 7 people were killed in 4 states during the entire event. In all, 389 tornadoes were confirmed over an 11-day period, close to the number of tornadoes in the May 2003 tornado outbreak sequence, which affected more or less the same area. However, the 2003 outbreak produced several more destructive and violent tornadoes and had a much higher death toll than May 2004. So now here's a list of confirmed tornadoes. Actually, before we do that, this is the supercell that spawned the Hallam tornado. Hallam's right there. This is the tornado right here, right before rapidly increased 2.5 miles wide. But the Hallam, Nebraska tornado outbreak on May 22nd produced nearly 60 tornadoes across mostly Nebraska and Iowa, including the F4 that tore through Hallam, situated between Lincoln and Beatrice. It was recorded as the widest tornado ever, with 2.5 mile wide width, and 1 person was killed. However, in May 2013, it was surpassed by the El Reno tornado with a width of 2.6 miles wide. On May 24, another tornado outbreak took place across central U.S. with about 50 tornadoes confirmed in Kansas, Illinois, Nebraska, and Missouri. 1 person was killed in western Illinois near Winchester, west of Springfield. A similar outbreak on May 27 produced a damaging tornado in the city of Lexington, Kentucky. The Memorial Day weekend outbreak produced one of the largest tornado outbreaks on record from May 29, 2004 through the early morning hours of May 31, 2004. I don't know where I got evening from. During the Memorial Day weekend, 168 tornadoes touched down from the midwestern U.S., from the Dakotas to Oklahoma, eastward toward the Ohio and Tennessee valleys, from Ohio and Indiana southward toward Alabama. This outbreak has been compared with the April 3rd, the 74 super outbreak in terms of number of tornadoes, but had much fewer strong to violent tornadoes, with only 1 violent tornado in Missouri and 16 other strong tornadoes. While during the 74 super outbreak, there were 30 violent tornadoes and 66 strong tornadoes. At least 5 people were killed in this outbreak across 2 states, including 4 in Missouri and 1 in Indiana, where the death toll is much lower than the 315 or more deaths recorded during the super outbreak. Now here are the confirmed tornadoes, and here's tornadoes by state or province, because Ontario's in here because 4 tornadoes touched down. It's on the right if you want to read that. It's only counted as a tornado if it started in the state, so if it crossed state lines, it would count as the state it touched down in. That makes sense. But no unrated tornadoes: 241 F0, 114 F1, 24 F2, 8 F3s, 2 F4s, no F5s, for a total of 389 tornadoes. Here's May 21. I gotta read all this now. None unrated: 14 F0, 7 F1, 1 F2, 1 F3, 23 tornadoes on May 21. Here are them, if that makes sense. May 22nd, big day. None unrated: 43 F0, 19 F1, 5 F2, 1 F3, 1 F4, 68 tornadoes. Here's Hallam. It was on the ground 54 miles. We'll do a brief summary on that, but the next episode is dedicated to the Hallam tornado with more details. So if you want to watch that, stick around for next week. May 23rd, none unrated: 7 F0, 1 F1, 1 F2, 9 tornadoes. May 23rd. May 24th, None unrated 38 F0, 14 F1, 2 F2s, and 54 tornadoes in all. There are those tornadoes there. May 25, none unrated 8 F0, 2 F1, 1 F2, 11 tornadoes. May 26, none unrated 7 F0, 5 F1, 1 F2, 13 tornadoes. May 27, none unrated 15 F0, 5 F1, 3 F2, 1 F3, 24 tornadoes. Sound like I'm repeating myself. May 28, this is easy. None unrated 15 F0, 15 tornadoes. They were all F0 actually. Look at that. I've never seen this before. May 29, none unrated 48 F0, 22 F1, 5 F2, 4 F3, 1 F4, 80 tornadoes. The F4 occurred in what county? Missouri, actually. Weatherman, Missouri. F4 there. May 30, none unrated 42 F0, 37 F1, 5 F2, 2 F3s, 86 tornadoes. There are the tornadoes there. Obviously very large tornado outbreak because there's a lot. And finally, May 31, none unrated 4 F0, 2 F2s, 6 tornadoes, and there are those tornadoes there. So now let's go back to here and let's do a brief summary on the Hallam tornado. This, like I said before, I'm going to do a more detailed video on this next week, and if you want to see that, make sure you stay tuned because it's obviously next Sunday's Tornado Facts video. The Hallam, Nebraska tornado outbreak was an outbreak of 56 tornadoes in several Midwestern United States on the evening of May 22nd, 2004, and the first of a series of tornado events. Most of the tornadoes occurred in Nebraska and Iowa. On that day, a warm, moist air mass was sitting over Nebraska, while an upper-level low developed in Colorado, with an attending dry line forming ahead of the advancing cold front. One person was killed in this outbreak, 38 were injured, and there were $175 million in damage. The violent tornado, or the worst tornado, was rated an F4 in Hallam, Nebraska. The violent tornado, I'm going to mute this. The violent tornado was ranked as the widest tornado ever on Earth in recorded history, reaching a strength of 2.5 miles wide, or reaching a width of 2.5 miles wide. What? Reaching a strength of 2.5. Yeah, that makes sense. This record was surpassed on May 31st, 2013, by the El Reno tornado that reached 2.6 miles wide. Oh, that was a mouthful. The first of many tornadoes in this outbreak touched down at 1:15 Mountain Daylight Time in LaGrange, Wyoming. It was rated an F0 and did not cause any significant damage. After another small tornado touched down in Colorado, several tornadoes began to form in Nebraska and Iowa during the mid-afternoon hours, where they continued until around 11 o'clock Central Time. The most damaging tornado in the outbreak, obviously, was in Nebraska and touched down at 7:30 p.m. The tornado then moved to the northeast through southern Saline County. And wait a minute. Oh, this is the Hallam tornado. Saline County and northwestern Gage County. By the time it entered Lancaster County, it measured an F4 on the Fujita scale, and the damage was 2.5 miles wide. And see, it reached 2.5 miles wide over Hallam, which is kind of shocking. And it's kind of like Greensburg, except Hallam was a much smaller town, and the tornado was much, much wider. The tornado passed into Otoe County, dissipating just west of Palmyra at 9:10 p.m. The tornado had a path length of 54 miles and was on the ground for 100 minutes. The damage in Hallam began at 8:33 p.m., and approximately 95% of the buildings in Hallam were damaged or destroyed. 37 people were injured, and one fatality occurred in the village. The North School District 160 high school building was severely damaged. Its auditorium was destroyed. Straight-line winds caused damage in Princeton. Several farms and rural homes suffered extensive damage. This storm also derailed a freight line and left it lying 20 feet away from the railroad. Jeez. Other significant damage occurred from an F2 tornado in Adams and Clay counties. Those are both in Nebraska as well. 15 homes were damaged, and another train was overturned, resulting in $5.5 million in damage. Now, the Memorial Day weekend outbreak was the largest continuous tornado outbreak ever recorded in the month of May. It lasted for 2 days from May 29th through the 30th of 2004, with the final tornadoes occurring early on May 31st. This tornado outbreak began in the Great Plains and continued throughout the Midwest. Tornadoes on the 29th were focused from the Dakotas to Missouri and Oklahoma before shifting east to the Mississippi, Ohio, and Tennessee River valleys on the 30th. The official storm data archives from NOAA list a total of 168 tornadoes during the 2-day period. Unofficial storm reports compiled by the Storm Prediction Center indicated 199 tornadoes, but these reports are strictly preliminary and not quality controlled to the degree of the storm data publications. The 168 tornadoes in 32 hours of continuous activity, which would not at all break the record held by the 74 super outbreak, which saw 148 tornadoes in 18 hours. And that was the end of the sentence there, even though it sounded like it wasn't. There was also a greater number of large and violent tornadoes in the super outbreak event. Most of the tornadoes were produced by supercells, though a few were produced by the following squall line. There were also widespread wind damage reports from a large squall line that moved through after the tornadoes. And damage totals from this outbreak were reported to be $62.321 million. The tornado outbreak killed at least 5 people across 2 states, including 4 in Missouri and 1 in Indiana. 3 of the fatalities were caused by an F4 tornado that struck the Weatherman area in DeKalb County, Missouri, late during the evening on May 29. Another person was killed in the St. Louis area, while the 5th fatality was northwest of Louisville, Kentucky, in the Marengo area, where 80% of the town was damaged or destroyed. In addition, an F2 tornado on May 30th, okay, and there's apparently a tornado forming in Texas right now. Yep. And I'm recording this on, what's today? April 23rd. So yeah, tornado in Texas, southeast of Santa Monica, Texas. Okay, that's good to know. In addition, an F2 tornado on May 30 affected portions of the Indianapolis metro area just a few hours after the Indy 500 was taking place. The tornado had missed the Motor Speedway by 6 miles and forced post-racing events to be held indoors. The tornado did, however, cause extensive damage across southern and eastern Marion County south of downtown. While 26 people were injured, over 700 structures were damaged by the tornadoes. Several other smaller outbreaks took place between May 21 through the 31st and affected many of the regions impacted by the 2 main outbreaks. On May 21, a series of tornadoes hit Iowa, causing major damage to the town of Bradgate, where 75% of the buildings in town were either damaged or destroyed. On this day, several clusters of thunderstorms traveled from the Midwest to the Mid-Atlantic states, producing widespread damaging winds and weaker tornadoes across Michigan. On May 24, several tornadoes touched down across the Great Plains and mid-Mississippi Valley. Most tornadoes were weak, although one person was killed in Illinois inside of a mobile home. People are never going to learn, are they? May 26 through 27 saw several tornadoes affect portions of the Ohio River Valley. One tornado north of Louisville produced significant damage in Washington and Clark counties. I don't know where I get Lexington from. Oh, I see why. Right there. Now, an F3 tornado tore through a residential subdivision just north of Lexington, Kentucky, causing major damage to about 50 homes. So with that, that is the end of the 50th episode of Tornado Facts with Beanrock124. This one was about the tornado outbreak sequence of May 2004. And like I previously said, next week is about the tornado, or the Hallam, Nebraska tornado that occurred during this outbreak. Just like I did with the Oklahoma tornado outbreak in 1999 with the Moore tornado, it's going to be the same thing with this. So that is it for the 50th episode of Tornado Facts with Beanrock124, and with that, goodbye.